Hello all, this video will be a lesson on public forum debate rules and etiquette. Public forum debate consists of two teams, each consisting of two people, and these two teams are debating against each other on a resolution. The speaking order or position of argument is determined by a coin toss. You may either call out heads or tails, or in China we call either flower or number, and if you win the coin toss, you may pick to either A. Speak first, B. Speak second, C. Pick pro side for the resolution, or D. Con side for the resolution. Now, it is often advised to pick second speaker as you will be able to listen to the opponent's speeches before yours, and also your team speaks last, and that often comes in handy when laying on the impacts of your argument. However, picking a side instead of the speaking order is not a wrong choice either if you believe that one of your arguments may be stronger than the other. Now, to go in more detail to how public forum is set up. We will be debating in mainly two organizations, NHSDLC, which is also known as AGD, and NSDA. Although the rules of debate etiquette applies to both, which we will go into detail later, there's a few differences between the two. The time limit that they give is different, and so is the prep time. But first, let's address the setup of public forum debate. Team A speaks first. Their first speaker will give out the constructive speech, and following that, Team B will also give out their constructive speech. This is where both teams present their arguments for their side. The time given for the constructive speech by NHSDLC is 5 minutes long, meaning you have 5 minutes to present your whole argument. But for NSDA, they give you 4 minutes. It's best to stay within the time limit and do not go over time or under. Next is the crossfire, where the first speakers of both teams take turns asking each other questions, and that lasts 3 minutes in total, and the time limit is the same for both NHSDLC and NSDA. After that, we have the Team A's rebuttal speech, given by the second speaker of the team, and following that, Team B gives their rebuttal speech. This is where you address and refute your opponent's arguments and strengthen your own. This is purely speech in comparison to the constructive, and should not be approached as if it were another constructive where you read out your case. This should be 4 minutes long for both NHSDLC and NSDA. We have another crossfire after this between the two second speakers who just gave a rebuttal speech, and this is in the same time limit as the previous crossfire. It lasts 3 minutes in total. After that, Team A's first speaker gives out a summary speech. Team B does the same, summarizing the main points of the debate. This speech should be 2 minutes long. Then we have the grand crossfire, in which all speakers must participate, taking turns to ask questions to the opposing team. This is 3 minutes long and is just like the two crossfires before, but with 2 more people. Lastly, Team A gives out their final focus speech, following with Team B doing the same, and this speech also lasts 2 minutes. And that is the end of a public forum debate. But like I've mentioned, there is still prep time. Prep time is short for preparation time, and it's a time in which teams can ask judges for a few seconds or a minute out of the total given prep time, so to get some time where you can strengthen your argument, revise the points, talk with your teammate, work on your case, etc. It's essentially time that you feel you need to use to prepare yourself. Prep time given by NHSDLC is 4 minutes long, and you can use any segment of those 4 minutes for prep time. 30 seconds, 1 minute, and you can call for that time from the judge in between speeches. This is the same with NSDA, except they only give you 2 minutes of that time. For example, if you're about to give your rebuttal speech but still need to think about one last point, you may ask the judge for 30 seconds, and on most occasions they will time you and tell you when it is up so you can give your speech. However, it is always best to time yourself, as sometimes the judge doesn't. It is best to call for prep time before your speech, as the opponent will often do the same. When they call for prep time, you are allowed to use it to go over certain things in the debate, too. It is best to ask for time in increments of 30 seconds. You do not want to waste all your prep time before just one speech, nor do you want to entirely neglect it and not use it either. Measure it out well so you and your partner can fully utilize it in the debate. Now that we have addressed the basic setup of public forum debate, let's look at some rules and the debate etiquette. Here are some of the main rules and practices of debate in which you are obligated to follow. When presenting an argument in your constructive, you are not allowed to falsify, create, or distort the evidence that you use. If the opponent calls out a request to see your evidence, you must pull it out, either printed or digital, and show it to them. If you do not have it, your evidence is no longer considered acceptable. Of course, this applies to your opponent too. If they have evidence you want to see, you may request to do so in between speeches or during crossfire. You're also not allowed to use the internet during the debate. Everything needs to be prepared prior to the debate, and if you use electronic devices for your case or your evidence, then please turn off the Wi-Fi. The same also applies to phones if you're using it at the time. Do not insult or physically fight the opposition or judges. It's incredibly offensive to rely on derogatory means for your argument, even if your opponents make a point that you severely disagree with, or the judge's judging was what you felt unfair. Do not resort to such means. Be polite and cordial. Do not interrupt when the other team is giving a speech, as it is not your turn to talk but to listen. However, during crossfire, you may interrupt only if it is necessary, as you may feel the opponent is not answering your question or not asking a question, but do it politely and state why you are interrupting them. Keep your voice to a normal indoor speaking volume. Do not scream or shout or mindlessly interrupt the opponent just for the sake of looking like you have the upper hand. You don't. Any means of belittling the opponent is also offensive. You're not there to mock them. You are there to have a civil debate with them. Of course, right after the debate, don't forget to shake hands with your opponents and the judges as a means of respect. But don't give out your evaluation of the debate on who won or lost before the judge has made a decision and before the ballot papers have left the room. When you tell your opponents, "Oh, good debate, I think you guys won," right after the debate, when you go to them to shake hands, you are basically giving the judge permission to pick the other team to win. You can say things like "good job" or "good debate," but anything other than that before the paper or you or the judge has left the room, then just keep it to yourselves. Now, what I've just stated was mostly all basic manners and should be known and practiced both in and out of debate. Personal opinions and emotions may hinder you, but try to stay true to your side and your arguments. It is important to understand that in debate, you are not attacking the person, you are attacking the idea. With that, I hope you can learn from each debate you participate in and have fun with it.